Today we're here at Rajputana Customs, which has just completed 14 incredible years of blending precision with passion. And we can't wait to take you with us through all the behind-the-scene action and witness the place where the magic actually happens. Bikes have these very interesting and earthy names. You have Lado, Rani Sa, Jordar, and I just want to pick your brain on how do you come up with these names, and as you put it on your social media posts quite often, the Namkaran process is what we're interested in.
The whole process of building this bike is an organic process. We don't start with everything etched in stone or like a complete 3D model, and we don't know what we're going to end up with. So it's very much an organic process, and when the bike actually comes to its final stage, that is post paint and polishing and detailing and everything, so that's the first time the customer, the boys, that is the team, or I see it for the first time. So we like to give it, its own name, which is rarely ever a pre-decided name. It's based on the characteristics of that bike itself. So Jordar was a Jordar bike, Rajmata was the Queen Mother, Ranisa was a lesser version of Rajmata.
Who takes the final call on that?
The last call is mine, but everybody gets to decide. It could be you, it could be the boys, it could be the owner, it could be a third friend, it could be an aunt, it could be my mother. If anybody says, this suggests a good name that sticks to the bike, then we try and keep it.
The brand has grown and you have grown with it, and now you've become a very well-known personality. Do people come to Rajputana Customs to get a Rajputana Customs motorcycle, or do they want Rajputana Customs to create a bike for them?
We have a certain amount of credibility, a certain amount of expertise in this field where a customer who's a layman in this field, not always, but majority of the time, they want something different. So they give us a loose suggestion of what it is that they like, and then we kind of fine-tune that or shortlist that and then go forward from there. But they rely on us to actually design the bike or to create that whole being. At the same time, we have some customers who have a fair understanding, like this bike, where he had a vintage Triumph and he said, I want a lost prototype, which is like a bike that was maybe built as a prototype in that era. How would it have been customized at that time? So some customers have a very sensible brief, so which we are also very happy to stick to. If I'm a guy who doesn't know how to do houses, I'll find an interior designer and I'll give him a brief. I want an industrial house, I want something more opulent, or I want like a boho chic kind of look or whatever. So there you're relying on that person's creative juices and his own organic process, and that's what we do as well. So in the early days, people used to come to us specifically, I think, and nowadays it's more like to say that Vijay, you do what you like, let the team do what they like. This is a loose direction or this is a loose budget, and work within this. So that is something I enjoy a lot more, because it gives me a lot more freedom. But at the same time, if the customer is on the right track, our patron who's giving us that machine, if he is saying something that makes sense to the motorcycle and to me, then it's great fun working with those people as well.
I know that you're a fast rider, you like fast bikes. The kind of bikes that you like to drive and the kind of bikes that you're creating, there's a major aesthetic difference out there. How do you navigate that?
The world of motorcycling is very, very big, I'd say, in what you would like to do with it. I come from a motorcycle building background, occupationally, but out of passion and as a rider and as a human being, as a child also, I really enjoy riding a lot more than I enjoy building bikes. Building bikes is great fun, don't get me wrong. It's like 10 out of 10. But then riding motorcycles and racing them in a controlled environment and being able to spend time with bikes and improve your skill and compete and go head to head with somebody who's maybe quicker than you is 100 on 10. So they're very, very different aspects of it. Collecting bikes, some people are collectors, some people are restorers. Motorcycling can be many things to many people. And like I said, building is a strong part of my life, but riding and racing is the strongest part of my life.
MotoGP just debuted in India. That was huge. Then we have the recent editions of IBW, Motorsoul, and now Supercross is also making a great entry. So how do you think that's going to change the dynamic in the Indian economy? With the introduction of motorsport, where do you anticipate it going?
Motorsport in India is only going to grow. With India Bike Week coming in 10 years ago, Even at that time, it was a very exciting time for us, saying that now we finally have a bike festival that gets together all of motorcycling in the country at one spot. Custom bike builders, racers, restorers, like I said, enthusiasts, people who aren't introduced to motorcycles, to have a beer, let your hair down, listen to some music, be around motorcycles, and do a bunch of fun stuff. So that was exciting at that point. Now you have so many more festivals. The biking community has grown. These international brands have been here for 10, 12 years now. Ducati, Harley, Triumph, whatnot. So the whole ecosystem is flourishing. There's no looking back, especially with the advent of MotoGP now. They've come back with a bang. Hopefully they'll be doing that for the next 6 or 7 years. We are trying to inculcate grassroots racing in Rajasthan and other places as well. So we're doing some mini bike racing. The Supercross League has also just come about. Geo has got the viewing rights for them. So they got a good amount of sponsorship, 100 crores or something over there. So that whole Supercross League has just been kicked off with international riders. Great exposure for our own Indian riders, for the public to really see some high level racing, and for our boys to get better, to have that kind of experience. The ecosystem is only going to grow. Hopefully it happens for rally, like Harit Noah just got a podium. So that was a great achievement for us Indians, and we are no less, and our kids are no less. There's a high passion for motorcycling in this country, and if we give them the right kind of infrastructure, which is the right bikes, the right track, and the right training, our boys are no less than anyone else in the world. And even though I'm wearing a full sleeve shirt, my hair are standing up on its end right now as I say that to you, because it's something that I truly feel very passionate and very strongly about. And I feel that, motorsport must only grow in this country, and we have a long way to go, and we have a lot to contribute to the whole global motorcycling scene.
Customization is a lot like storytelling. Is Rajputana Customs telling the same story through different mediums? Or is it like a different story that's also evolving as the company is going forward?
Building bikes, like I said, to building a business and furthering custom motorcycling in the country, to riding and racing and grooming young riders as well now, to maybe speaking to the government and allocating some land for us and forming a state association that grows the sport further. So RCM is always, the key has been motorcycles. Now whether you ride them, you race them, you keep them parked in your house, it's anything to do with motorcycles. That's been our story, and we're just trying to be around bikes and contribute in whatever avenue that we can, and hopefully give it our best, and leave a better future for young motorcyclists to come. Because in the 80s, in the late 70s and 80s, motorcycling was thriving in India, and it seemed like this would be a glamorous sport, and by the late 90s and 2000s it would be where cricket is or something or the other. But the real leaders at that point, the older generation, kind of fizzled out, or they all drifted apart, or they all had their own responsibilities, and the sport kind of fell through the cracks in the 90s and in the 2000s. And now, with the commercialization of the sport and the larger understanding of custom motorcycling and motorcycling as a whole, where it's not just a poor man's commute to work, it's a passion-driven industry, a lot of passionate people who really care for bikes, and the bikes do something for them. That's really come through to the public, and people have really gained that understanding. So it's really on the up, and these are the glory days, the golden days for bikes, and we're just happy to be a part of them.